course, the Mighty Meters bringing us that track. Paul Porter, and again, we just heard from Face, some more great artistry that, again, shatters the lie that only the best and brightest are allowed onto the most popular commercial airwaves. Could you give us a little preview of what we're going to get in what apparently is going to be the enhanced part 2 of this NPR story in which you are featured?
Well, first, can I ask you a quick question?
Of
How
course.
long have you been on the air?
I've been on the air in one form or another. I don't know, maybe 5-6 years only. I'm kind of
So
still a
have
rookie.
you ever been contacted by a record company, a major label, to play their product?
No.
In this declining era of record sales, don't you find that strange that you control the music that you play, and a guy like Thomas Lytell at Def Jam hasn't called you up and said, hey, man, I'm going to service you with this product and play it?
Well, I could find it a little odd. To be completely fair, I get your point. To be completely fair, I think that if I were the host of another kind of program, or maybe a more popular DJ even on this station or in this network, maybe, and I can't speak for anybody else, but I get your point, and I'm not too sure to what extent even the more popular DJs of music shows have been contacted either, but my suspicion is that, yeah, exactly.
Because you're not part of that system. You're not part of the Clear Channel, and WPFW doesn't contribute to charts, and that's what they want. They want those chart-driven records where they can control playlists, and that's what this NPR piece goes into. It talks about how record companies have independent promotion, man. When they already have a promotion staff, they send them huge amounts of money to go out and circulate and pay off program directors and DJs and mix show DJs, and that's how everything's funded. Everything's funded, and that's why record companies fail. Technology allows you to make a video now for, $200. Mm-hmm. It allows you to make a great sounding record in your basement. But the cost that the old business model that record companies are following is a multi-million-dollar cost, and they pay the cost to record stations because they already have these high costs. And it's sort of scratch each other's back. I'll pay you to do this video. You kick me back money. They pay the promotion man. It's a crazy business model where, like, Warner Music has lost like $6 billion in 10 years. So when an independent artist tries to walk into a radio station in your market and says, "Hey, man, they could have songs in the key of life or Thriller, but they won't get airplay," it just won't happen.
That's Paul Porter of IndustryEars.com. This is the Legacy edition of We Ourselves. I'm Jared Ball. My man Face is in the studio as well. Most importantly, this is WPFW 89.3 FM, broadcasting live to the world from Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. You mentioned something I just want to ask you about. I've been critical of these claims of corporate losses like that of Warner that you just mentioned. And a lot of people argue that the music industry is in decline, and piracy and bootlegging have hurt the industry, and that from the left, political left, there is this sort of, as I've described, sort of a utopian hope that this means that a brighter day for artists getting heard and greater access, and they point to things like the internet as being a source of this extended freedom to artists. While at the same time the industry is looking to readjust itself to the internet, and at least they claim that they're going to be projecting greater sales revenue from digital downloads that are paid for, so on and so forth. And I've argued that Warner Music and others claim that they're losing all this money, but these are really just against projected profits that aren't reached, and they claim a loss when in fact they're really still making plenty of money and paying their top executives plenty of money. Because I think in that same period you're talking about, Lear Cohen and Bronfman made close to $100 million of personal money while the company is claiming losses. But I said a lot there, but I'm interested in what your thoughts are on the future of the industry itself, the impact of the internet, and the impact that all of this will have on artists and audiences getting new music out and getting new music heard.
Well, I'm not a great believer in the internet right now for independent artists because I just think the audience is shared in so many places now. It's hard, what stream do you play? Where do you go? You can do, 1,000 internet radio shows and still not meet the same audience of, one commercial radio station that might be cuming. So I'm still into getting commercial radio back since it is for the people. I mean, licenses are granted to serve the communities. They're not supposed to be, just like I talk about black syndication while we celebrate Tom Joyner and Steve Harvey, black music syndication. If you're a black adult, you're 75 more times likely to hear a syndicated radio show than the same white adult. So it's like we're test tube babies, and we celebrate this, but all it does is cut off information, it cuts off music, and it cuts off our voice. Because if Tom Joyner and Steve Harvey's not talking about it, black adults don't hear it. They're doing the same thing on the younger end with the Russ Parrs and Ricky Smileys.
Do me a favor, Paul. Could you say that one more time about the likelihood of hearing syndicated radio?
75 times to 1. A black person is more likely to have syndicated radio in their market than a white adult. They're the only syndicated shows for white adults are talk radio. And, of course, black folks don't have talk radio. If you call, there's no syndicated host on the level of a Limbaugh or a Hannity or and Laura Ingraham, and that's fine, but we're syndicating music. We're syndicating jokes every day and the same bad music. So it's really scary. So when it comes to local elections, local issues, that's what radio's for. It's supposed to reach local communities, but they don't talk about that. They give you traffic, and that's it on these syndicated.
Yeah, I was going to
programs.
say, in addition to what you've just said there, our good friend and colleague at blackagendareport.com, Glenn Ford, has been on this for years, that in addition to what you're saying, that on black radio in particular, there's just an absence of news. News, and not only in terms of just broader reading of other news generated around the country and around the world, but news generated by the communities for the communities that are targeted by these radio stations as well. So it's like this. It seems like this. I don't know, a doubly or triply imposed negative impact.
That's because there's no local ownership. Corporations own radio. They're traded on the stock exchange. So they went from serving listeners in their community to stockholders. So anytime it becomes about stockholders, you cut news, you cut this, you cut that. And it's all the cause of, a higher profit. So folks in these communities, they don't even get the music they like. There's no East Coast, West Coast beefs anymore. There's no grunge music out of Seattle. There's no Motown out of Detroit. Local stations don't, there might be a go-go show in D.C., but they don't play the music that the people, it's one big commercial swipe for the country, and that's scary.